Over the last couple of days, we had a tournament in Axie Origin hosted by Quest with 150 AXS as the prize pool, and all of the great players from Axie came out to play this tournament. We had Elijah, Chuck Fresco, we had 1437, who is the winner of last season in Axie Infinity. We also had Axie Infinity Labs and all the rest of the players competing to win the first tournament in Axie Origin. Now, what's cool about a tournament like that is that we can learn what the meta actually is, and from what I have gathered, a lot of beasts were played in this tournament. So beast mid lane, beast back lane, we have seen it all. Usually an aqua was being played on the front lane because of the calcium armor of or the heart of the ocean. You can get that extra HP, you can also get that extra armor, so it looks like aquas on the front are actually favorable. Should a plant or a reptile be taking that position? In my opinion, yes, because what we know of Axie Origin V2, or Axie Infinity V2 rather, but maybe Aqua's front lane is how the game is supposed to play and how the game will be played, unless the runes get shifted a little bit. It actually doesn't make sense to me that plants don't have charms that give you HP, right? I think plants should be the ones that have HP runes and charms, but they actually don't. So now let's jump into the final games of this tournament and see who was competing to take that trophy down. So in the final, we had Chuck Fresco going up against 1437. Chuck, obviously a person that has been in Axie Infinity forever, what it feels like. I believe he has won either one of the first seasons or the first tournament in V2 as well. So he has been here for a while. 1437 has won the latest tournament or the latest season of Axie Infinity, and we see that they are both playing a beast on the back lane. Looks like that's the meta right now. The endless anger with the fury is just simply too good to give up on. The cottontail, the Goda, and the imp, once you get into that fury form, quite a lot of damage coming through. We see that the front lane of 1437 has already been taken down, and then the mech tries to return the favor by killing that aqua. Now, will he be able to kill it with the revenge sword? Looks like the answer is yes, and hopefully the opponent does draw some revenge cards. Now, Chuck Fresco doesn't draw any revenge cards, so he's still gonna be able to slap that mech around. The mech doesn't have a defensive rune. All he has is a last stand rune. I think the Pendulum scale that Chuck is running is much better because it takes a reduced damage, and it's especially helpful in the mid and later stages of the game. We see that 1437 is playing Topaz. Actually, Chuck is playing Topaz as well, so that might be the meta. They are both playing Cottontails. You get to banish those cards, which means that your Topaz will be dealing extra damage. Actually, he's running a double Topaz. Not a fan of that. I think one Topaz on the back lane is actually enough, but it is what it is. The Pendulum scale, you can see how much damage it prevents. 175 health on that beast still, and now we see the fury form coming out from the backlane beast, going for the imp that costs 0 damage, 0 energy in fury form. Still a Goda, still a hero to be played. I mean, whatever he plays, he should be able to take this beast down in the forthcoming round, and I don't think the beast will be able to hit its fury state unless he does have a fury charm. I don't believe that beast has any fury increasing cards on its own. He does draw a void as well, meaning that he's gonna have less energy. He has to go for the imp, he has to go for the revenge, and he has to go for the Ronin. That's his only play. I mean, that's all the cards that he had, so it doesn't make sense to play anything else. And let's see whether 1437 can still make something out of this. 3 energy, is that enough to deal 270 health? Doesn't look like it will be. He draws a void as well, so maybe 1437 with the good cards draw can actually take this game down in fury form. Let's see whether he can draw an imp, whether he can draw a couple of extra cards. First one a revenge, second one a revenge, and a void. Oh, that is a tragic card draw. Look at that. If he only had little bit more help from the card draw, would have been helpful. Actually, 309 damage from the Topaz. That's helpful enough. That is helpful enough. And 1437 takes down game number 1. In game number 2, which is actually game number 1 because I messed up the order, we see that the front lanes are already beaten down. I'm not sure why the games are cut at the start. Maybe the observers couldn't jump into the game at the start, but the front lane of Chuck already falls down, and 1437 actually has bubbles on his team at this time, so that might be able to help a little bit negate some of that damage. Not that it needs to help because he was already won one of the games with the Topaz in his Fury form, so it looks like the Fury form needs to come at an exact right time for you to be able to make use of that. We can see a bunch of cards being drawn here. Probably he's going to go for a hero to get another card draw, then attack the mech with a Goda, and that will be the end of that. A Void being added to 1437 discard pile. We see an Imp coming through, and he goes for the Topaz, 165 damage, so he doesn't go for the hero, doesn't feel like he needs an extra card to be drawn there. Topaz dealing 165 is just a ridiculous amount. I mean, being able to banish that many cards is just a ridiculous game state. Look at it, double Cottontail going for the Goda, probably going to go for the Revenge Arrow as well, and then the Topaz as well. How much does that deal? I mean, the opponent does have a Pendulum Scale, so 126 is the name of the game, leaving the beast with 93 health, but it's still a ridiculous amount. Not sure what's better still, double Topaz or a single Topaz, depending on how many cards you can discard. We see the Fury form from Chuck at the back, going for the Nutcrack, probably going to go for the Imp, or he wants to go for the Goda and then Imp the back lane. That could make sense as well. Goes for the Revenge Arrow, dealing 46 damage. I mean, he should have known that that was not enough, right? Because Revenge cards don't deal extra damage from the Fury stage. So that was a wasted card. And now let's see whether the Beast of 1437 can get the job done with his Fury form. The draw is terrible. It's absolutely disgusting. He draws the Void card. Unfortunately, that will reduce his energy, and he cannot play all of the cards that he wants to. Actually, he can, because he enters Fury form, which gives you extra energy, so that's why it's broken. I forgot about that. Ronin deals about 100 something damage, and they are sitting at exactly the same amount of health, but he draws a double Void Chuck. Terrible card draw in turn 10. He can't go for anything else, cannot use the Topaz, and we see another Void being drawn by 1437. Topaz coming through. We see the Revenge Sword, and because of the Void he cannot finish this beast off. 35 health on that. Now let's see whether Jug can finish the job. Looks like he will be able to with the double Nutcrack and the Topaz. This beast is as good as dead. Doesn't matter what card he uses, the beast is going down, and we have 1-1 in this final, so let's see who can take it down. So jumping into the final game, we have the same setup. I'm not sure if the guys were limited to just playing one team. That could have made sense because it looks like they are running the exact same team every single time, so maybe they weren't able to change that. But that's what we see right here. We see the front lanes being taken down slowly. Turn 3, Chucks's front lane sitting 187 health. He's running the Babylonia Goldfish. I'm not sure what's better, the Goda that 1437 is running or the Risky Fish. Now you do get a little bit extra damage from that Risky Fish, but we can see how Voids can mess up the card draw towards the later stages of the game. If you draw that Void, your turn is absolutely screwed unless you enter the Fury form at the right moment, which gives you extra energy. But other than that, I think that the Goda or the Risky Fish is actually better for dealing damage, especially if you draw it in the early game and your opponent doesn't have the chance to draw a Goda. Triple Goda team though, very annoying to play against, whether that's V2 or whether that's Origin. And we see the Goda coming through as we speak, and let's see what else the 1437 will go for. It doesn't really matter, he's gonna get the kill either way, so it's probably Imp Ronin, Imp Topaz, doesn't matter, the fish is going to die. But the Pendulum Scale does give him a little bit of trouble because of that extra damage reduction that it has from the rune. We see double Goda. Let's see whether he goes for that. I think that he should be going for a double Goda. That gives him just extra utility to play with. in the later stages. Once 1437 will not be able to draw the best cards because he does have those curses that reduce the energy. So 2 voids in that deck. I mean, look at this card, Joe. He draws double Cottontail at the worst possible moment, because in the next round or the round after that he will be drawing those void cards. So what he wants to do is probably save one of those Cottontails, but he might not be able to because he needs to get banishes as well, so that the Topaz deals damage. We see the double void from Chuck, so only 1 card being able to play. Actually, that's not true because of what we know as a Fury form, which gives you extra energy, because why wouldn't it? So that's completely broken. I don't think Fury form should be given any energy, especially that most of the Fury carriers already have Imp, that is a 0 cost that deals damage. So 140 damage on that backline. We see 4 revenge cards and an Imp. That's not going to be good enough. And he still has 2 voids in there, I think, right? I don't think he has drawn the voids yet, so he's not even going to be able to clear that Beast of Chuck Fresco on the mid lane. And this Beast on the back lane is as good as dead, so it looks like Chuck will be taking down the first prize of the first Axie Origin tournament. 150 AXS for the prize pool. I'm not sure what first place is taking, but it's probably upwards of 75 AXS depending on how the split went, maybe above 50 AXS. I'm not sure how they split that, but well done to Chuck Fresco for taking that tournament down. Similar teams, looks like the Beasts are heavily in the meta, so if you want to jump a couple of rankings, probably getting yourself a Beast on the backlane with the Endless Anger will be the way to go. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.